Hi, welcome back to Creative Faith with Makenna. I'm Makenna if you didn't know. So today's video is going to be another Monday Meals with Mom because I know that you enjoy them. And yeah, so follow along for another recipe. Today's recipe is going to be stuffed cannelloni or stuffed shells. Yeah, follow along if that interests you. Okay, so like I said, today's recipe is going to be stuffed cannelloni, or you can do stuffed shells, basically the same thing. What you're gonna need is 1 box of cannelloni noodles or 1 box of jumbo pasta shells, 2 cups pasta sauce divided into 1.5 cup and then 1/2 cup portions. You're gonna need 1 egg lightly beaten, 2 cups of ricotta cheese, spinach, which should be chopped, 1 tablespoon of parsley. Always love our herbs, don't we? 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, which should be grated, and 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese, which should be shredded. Okay, so now that you have your ingredients, I'm gonna ask you to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so because we are making stuffed shells, stuffed pasta, whatever you want to call it, that requires tomato sauce. And if you are an adult, you will already know this, but there is good tomato sauce and bad tomato sauce. You can find good jarred tomato sauce, but you can also find like bad jarred tomato sauce. But in order to avoid the bad stuff, this is how we make our homemade tomato sauce, at least for this recipe. Follow this portion of the video if you want to know how we make the homemade tomato sauce. This is the tomato sauce that we put in this recipe. If not, you can jump ahead to the following timestamp and continue with the recipe. For the homemade tomato sauce, you will need 1 teaspoon of oil, 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1 can of tomato sauce, which is approximately 680 milliliters, 1 can of tomato paste, which is 156 milliliters, 1/2 cup of water, 1 teaspoon of basil, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. That is what you will be needing to make the homemade tomato sauce that will go with this recipe. Heat your 1 teaspoon of oil in a large saucepan on medium heat. Add 2 teaspoons of minced garlic and cook for 30 seconds. Remember that garlic burns very quickly, so do not walk away. Keep your eye on the 30 seconds. Add your 1 can of tomato sauce, your 1 can of tomato paste, and your 1/2 cup of water to the saucepan and stir. Add your spices, so we're talking about 1 teaspoon of basil, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and your salt and pepper. We did 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. You're gonna add 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. Simmer gently for 5 to 7 minutes. So that's all it says to do. Yeah, so that's how we make our homemade tomato sauce. Pretty quick and easy. Yeah, so you can follow along with that if you want to. That's just what we used for this recipe. Now let's get back to making this meal. This is where you grab your pasta. Now just follow the directions on the bag of pasta that you have. Yeah, prepare the pasta according to the directions on the bag. The key is undercook them for 1 to 2 minutes. So shave off 1 to 2 minutes of time than it usually asks for. Once it's cooked, drain and rinse the pasta because it just helps with less absorption of the sauce. It's just a thing. Okay, so step 4. Now you're gonna take the 1/2 cup portion of pasta sauce and spread it into the bottom of a 9 by 13 casserole dish. Take your beaten egg, 2 cups of ricotta cheese, 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, which should be grated, 1 cup of mozzarella cheese, should be shredded, chopped spinach, 1 tablespoon of parsley, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and mix well. This is your cheese stuffing. Now you're going to take a piece of pasta, whether you have shell or cannelloni, it doesn't matter, and stuff it with the cheese mixture. Now you remember that casserole dish we had? You're going to place the cheese-filled pasta things and lay it on top of the pasta sauce that is in the casserole dish. So continue to fill up the pasta with the cheese mixture until you either run out of the pasta or you run out of the cheese mixture. If you are using shells, place them cheese side up. Once you are done with the stuffing of the pasta shells and placing them in the casserole dish, and that will take time and effort, and don't feel like you have to use a spoon because your hands are just going to be easier to stuff the stuff in. So once you're done that, pour the remaining cup and a half of pasta sauce over the stuffed pasta that's in the casserole dish. Top with the remaining half a cup of mozzarella. Bake for 15 minutes with foil tented loosely over the casserole. Then remove the foil and bake for an additional 10 to 15 minutes uncovered. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. This is the final result. Enjoy. Thanks to my mom for actually filming this. I wasn't here to film it when this was being made, so thanks to her for filming it and giving me the instructions because some meals are just really complicated. As always, the recipe will be at the end of the video. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and have a lovely day.